Hello, we have Gussie Baker today on the date is August 8th, 2018, and she's talking about a situation that happened in Punta Gorda that she's very familiar with in history that would have lost us our waterfront. So she's going to tell us that story.
So I wrote, I had gotten all the stuff from the city, and I went through everything they had promised the citizens of Punta Gorda, the voters, what they would not do if they closed down the mobile home, the park. And they were travel trailers, everything.
And who was it that was who made these promises? It was
the
city council?
The
Okay.
city council.
And who was on city council at the time?
Well, I don't remember them all. Lindsay
Harrington was mayor.
He was mayor.
So
at the
this
time.
was in the 80s, 1980s?
Yes, it was in the 80s. So we had two different bids of people, two different organizations that wanted to develop it. Totally very, very different. And we had a group from New Orleans, and they had done the New Orleans waterfront and done the Superdome and done the big golf course that's out there, the pro golf course. So I got a friend of mine to meet me, and we went to New Orleans, and I looked it all over to see what he'd done, see if it was quality, and got a lot of background on the company. And Titan Waters, who is Isaac Trebue's niece, her husband happened to be the vice president of the largest bank out there. Talked to him. He said, Gussie, these people are impeccable. Whatever they do will be first class and high class. So that sounded good to me. So anyway, when I came back and we started having our meetings on the committee, and I found out that they had a meeting that we didn't know about, part of the committee.
Was this the city council or the committee
this was a
itself?
separate
Who was on the
committee.
committee?
They're all in this book.
Okay.
Al Johns was on this committee.
Al Johns was on the committee.
He was on the committee.
Paula Hess, did you mention? Is that the name? Hess?
Yeah.
Paula Hess.
She was head. She was on the committee too. And I think there was 10 or 12 of us on the committee. It was a good-sized committee. And so
this was a city council appointed committee.
Yes. And so we were to meet the next morning. And I was really upset about it because I felt if the city council voted to let the local group do it, they would be broke every promise that they promised the voters of Punta Gorda. And
this was a local builder, nothing to do with the New Orleans company that the
this
Euros
is
are
the
looking
local
at.
group. And the New Orleans company was making a presentation that day.
counterbid.
Both of them made presentation that day. So I thought, oh, I hate doing this, but you got to have guts sometime and do what you know is right. So I sat down and I wrote an 11-page statement from all the things that I knew would happen if they did it. And I wrote they voted no, and I wrote a 9-page if they voted yes.
And this was for the presentation by the local developers.
For the presentation. I did not read either one of those.
Do you want to describe what the local developers wanted to do?
Yes. They wanted to build condominiums.
And that would have been along the waterfront where
it would have been where we would totally lost the waterfront. I think 240 condominiums.
And that's the waterfront you're describing is where the event center is now, and where.
No, it was over where at Lashley Park is.
Lashley Park, okay.
Yeah, Lashley Park. And then they were going to do a strip mall on 41 with Albertsons being the anchor. Well, that just didn't seem right. Publix was already there on the other side of the street, and that bothered me. So anyway, I read they talked about it. They went through everything, and I read the statements, one of the statements to the city, so that some of the council people were there at the meeting. And so they voted no on the local project. and they voted for the New Orleans project. Now, the New Orleans project ended up not happening. I had everybody locally pretty upset at me, but I felt like I did the right thing. And the reason for that is the people who live in Punta Gorda, it was our fault, because they kept doing marketing studies. And the marketing studies said people didn't shop in Punta Gorda. They went out of town to shop. And I was so disappointed on, one of the things they were going to do was to build a replica of Hotel Charlotte Harbor. That was going to be part of it. And then the waterfront part.
That would have been fabulous.
The waterfront part was going to be all what I had gone to New Orleans on their waterfront and saw. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. I thought, this is first class, and this is what Punta Gorda is. We're first class. So the man who was president of the company got very ill, very, very ill. This is about a year later. He got ill, and things hadn't happened. They were trying to get it where they could get it going. And his son started calling me once a month, and I kept telling him, you gotta start something. He said, well, if I could just get the marketing studies up, because the board tells me with the marketing studies, we can't do it because we can't get the stores that we want involved, and they were high-class stores, to say, okay, we'll come, we'll do it, until we can get the marketing studies. So this is even now, this is something that really needs to be done, and the people that live here need to want to get our marketing studies up. And then we can have some things downtown, even though we still have a hole, that will happen. But it's up to us as individuals to help that happen.